Kamala Harris and the DNC spends $1 billion just to lose. That's amazing to me. Think about that for a minute. $1 billion. And what did they get? All you people who donated to Kamala Harris, what did you get for your money? I truly want to know what you felt you got for your money. Because you sure as hell didn't back a winner. Actually, you backed one of the most devastating losses in American politics. So what did you think you was getting for your money? Because we know by now the polls they're so incorrect, it's not even funny. I mean, the day of the election, it's a tight race, but we feel Kamala Harris is going to win it. It was a blowout. It was an embarrassment for the Democrat Party, who still don't know why they lost. Completely 100% clueless. Everybody's blaming everybody. Nobody's blaming their absolute failed policies, because that's why they lost. And the fact they put up the literal worst candidate in my lifetime. And I mean the worst. Kamala Harris is literally the worst candidate I've ever seen. Now, I'm not beating on Kamala Harris. As a person, I'm sure she's a great person. I'm sure she's funny, she's nice, she's personable. You know, yeah, I would love to sit down and talk to Kamala Harris and go, what the hell were you thinking? Did you think you were actually going to win this thing? Come on. I would love to talk to Kamala Harris. But I want to know what these people thought that they were getting for their money, because she pissed away $1 billion. She could have given everybody in America almost $3 and got the same result. She could have donated all that money to Children's Hospital, St. Jude's, and got the same result. The DNC could have bought 100,000 camels and got the same result. They could have done anything. Shit, they could have went out and bought beach resorts, laid around in the sand, made sand angels and shit, and got the same result. But instead, they pissed away $1 billion. And what they did do is they made a lot of rich people richer, because the Democrats are great at that. You know, and I love how it's always Donald Trump giving tax breaks to the rich people, tax breaks to the billionaires. You know who benefited the most from Donald Trump's tax cuts last time he was in presidency? That would have been the middle class. That is correct. It was the middle class that benefited the most from those tax cuts. And then when you look at it, you got to think, most of the taxes paid in this country are paid by the billionaires. Look up the numbers. It's staggering the amount of money the billionaires pay in taxes as opposed to us regular folk. Staggering the difference. But, you know, Donald Trump and his billionaire friends, even though 70% of the billionaires that donated to Kamala Harris. But then you watch, you know, the misinformation news. The billionaires love Donald Trump. No, actually, the billionaires loved Kamala Harris. And what they did is they took their $1 billion and they made rich people even richer. Don't believe me? Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey didn't back Kamala Harris. That was a lie. Whole thing was a lie. She was paid $1 million for that interview. $1 million to pump up Cammie. And she still couldn't do it. She tried to steal Cammie to the right answer and failed miserably. And you know Oprah's sitting there thinking, what the hell? Oh my God, I could get a 7th grader faster than I can Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris just has the inability to think. It's literally that simple. And like I said, I'm not dogging her as Kamala Harris. I'm dogging her as a presidential candidate, something she never should have been. She was way outclassed by Donald Trump. She spent $750 million on advertising. Donald Trump literally spent half that. Half. So if you want to look at, you know, money for return, the ROI, Donald Trump was, Jesus, his was a landslide. His return on investment was enormous. Kamala Harris had zero return. Zero. None. Not even a penny. It was 100% loss. 100% loss. Beyonce, Queen Bee. $10 million. $10 million to show up and sing a little song, do a little dance. Support Cammie. Kamala Harris. Talk about the joy. The power of the people power. The power of the people bring joy. And the people with the power have joy. And joy gives powerful people more power, so they can control the people that don't have any power. That's literally what it was. I don't even know what the hell I just said. I have no idea. But $10 million to Queen Bee. What's her name? The Stallion? Meghan maybe? Meghan? Maria? Whatever her name is? $5 million. Cool $5 million. $5 million to come sing and act like you support us. What was that god-awful podcast she did? Call Her Daddy? You know, the one that talks about sex and girls giving guys BJs? Yeah. What a great decision for a presidential candidate. Great decision. Why didn't she just go onto the set of a porn? Same thing. $400,000. $400K. I've never seen such misappropriation of funds in my life. I mean, oh my God. I've always called her the party VP. That's what she's done. She's accomplished nothing. She's partied her ass off for the last 3 years on the American dime. Now she's partying on the donator's dime. And party did she. Staying in high-end resorts, fancy hotels, throwing out millions on rallies, paying people for endorsements, rolling into town, shutting down restaurants. We'll give you 10 grand, shut them down. We're going to bring in some actors. Everybody act like you love Kamala. Love Kamala. Here's a cool $10 million. Shut this shit down. All of you fake it. You love Kamala. Kamala Harris is my president. Let's talk about the joy, because we have no policies. So let's talk about the joy. And boy, did they talk about the joy. And they had a joyous time. They had concerts and balloons and fireworks and people cheering and, you know, everybody just going out of the way for Kamala. Act Blue was, you know, stealing money from their own fund. They were embezzling cash left and right. Which brings you to the next question. Is there anything honest in the Democrat Party? Anything at all? Joe Biden was inserted. We all know that. Where did those, 12 million votes, 14 million votes? Where did they go? The ones that voted for Joe Biden that just did not show up for Kamala Harris, even though Kamala Harris was the person with joy. Where did they go? Maybe they're still in the ground dead. Maybe they're still dead from the Joe Biden campaign when they were dead during the Joe Biden campaign. So those 10, 12 million, did they just not show up? They just decide not to vote when democracy was on the line. They just, what the hell? She's going to win anyway. Smartest person I've ever seen. We don't need to vote for Kamala Harris. She's got this shit in the bag. So where did they go? That is a mystery for another time, because I want to find out where those people went. Is there anything honest in the Democrat ticket? Kamala Harris won 0 votes. First one out in the primary. Nobody wanted her in the primary. Absolutely nobody. Tulsi Gabbard ended her career on the debate stage the first time. Joe Biden didn't want her as a VP. She was selected, kind of like Joe Biden was inserted. I mean, if you think Joe Biden got 81 million votes, millions more than the liberal got Obama, well, then you're probably high, to be honest. Then all of a sudden, all these voters don't show up for Kamala Harris. Because we got to defeat that evil Trump. Got to defeat him. He's a Russian asset. Tulsi Gabbard's a Russian asset. Everybody's a Russian asset. If you disagree with us, you're a Russian asset. Meanwhile, they're sleeping with Chinese spies and, getting paid millions of dollars from, Chinese nationals. But we're the bad guys because we're all Russian assets. Russia hasn't paid me a damn dime. Haven't paid me anything. I could use some money. Be honest. But a lot of people are getting rich off the Chinese. On the other side, is there anything honest in the Democrat Party? They pulled a coup on Joe Biden, their democratically elected president and candidate. Somehow George Clooney, this clown, decides to write an op-ed. Jerry Maguire. It's a mission statement. That's all it was a mission statement. George Clooney, it was just an op-ed. Ruined his career. Absolutely ruined it. Writes an op-ed, boom, there goes Joe Biden. Insert knife here. And they did. And actually the one pushing the handle, it was Kamala Harris. She saw a chance. She saw a chance and took it. Put that knife square in Joe Biden's back. Became the nominee because there was no choice. Nancy Pelosi didn't want her. Nancy Pelosi wanted to hold a vote again. Who are we going to get? She knew Kamala Harris couldn't win. She knew that. Barack Obama didn't want her. Why do you think he took so long to endorse her? He didn't want her in there. They probably should have stayed with Joe, because I don't think they thought the whole process through. You know, if we get rid of Joe Biden, that may land us Kamala Harris, the lowest rated VP in history. And now we're going to run her for president. Fantastic. That's like somebody puts on dog fights, deciding they want to open a humane shelter for dogs. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't add up. None of it added up. Did in the Democrat mind. But is there anything honest on the Democrat Party? Because now you got Kamala Harris who's inserted. Nobody voted for her. 3.5 months ago, she was the most hated Democrat in America. By far. The liberal networks were calling for Joe Biden to get her off the ticket because she's going to cause little Joey to lose the election. Got to get her gone. Well, shit, that didn't happen. Might as well run her for president. Might as well run her for president. Let's give her endless amounts of money so she can lose. Brilliant strategy. Brilliant strategy. They should all be ashamed of themselves. So what it comes down to is the DNC, the collective, swindled every single Democrat person who donated to Kamala Harris. Swindled them. Might as well have been Enron for all we know. Swindled him. It was a pyramid scheme. Give us money. Give us money. We're going to spend it on frivolous shit. And they did. They spent heavily. We got all these celebrity endorsements. Man, they really didn't endorse her. They were being paid. You give somebody enough money, shit, they'll say anything. Hell, I'll endorse Kamala Harris for $10 million. I'll still vote for Trump, but I'd endorse her. Give me $10 million, Cammy. I'll come there. I'm a diehard Republican, and I endorse Kamala Harris. And I would turn right around and go Trump and vote for Donald Trump. Shit, anybody would do that. If you're going to throw away money like an imbecile, like giving a child, a $10 bill and throwing him in the middle of the candy store. That $10 is going to be gone like that. In Kamala Harris's case, that $10 was $1 billion. Gone like that. 3 months. 3 months. Gone. Is there anything honest in the Democrat Party? Because I can't think of a thing. You notice the congressional fight going on? It's in blue states. Where all this mail-in voting with no voter IDs allowed. We solved the presidency of the United States and the Senate in 24 hours. We're still fighting over the congressmen. And it's only in blue states. Interesting. Is there anything honest in the Democrat Party? Because I don't think there is. Now, they honestly blew through $1 billion. That's fantastic. And what I can't wait for is they have to release the records of where all this money. I can't wait to see these records. And then we're going to get to the crux of it, because that's the other thing. They knew they had to release these statements. Then everybody's going to look and go, oh my God, paid. Did anybody really believe in her? No. They were all paid actors. Nobody believed in Kamala Harris. Didn't have a chance. Now I thought the race was going to be closer. And that's my fault. Because, I watched a lot of news. Because I watch a lot of different news channels. I don't watch just right-leaning news. I watch left-leaning news. Because basically I like to see what they're lying about. But everybody, it's going to be close. Even the right-leaning channels, it's going to be close. The polls say it's going to be close. The polls say it's going to be close. And now the people in the polls are like, well, we don't know what happened. How did we get this so wrong? Because you're idiots. If you go to New York, and you go to the bluest section of New York, and you poll people, yeah, they're going to say, we're voting for Cammy. Woohoo, Cammy. Well, the race is going to be close. It's going to be close. It wasn't close. The race was a disaster for the Democrats. Absolute blowout. It was a referendum on their stupidity. Even after $1 billion lost, they still don't understand what happened. Like I said, they're blaming everybody. They're blaming white women, Latino voters, black men, black women. Hell, they're probably blaming midgets. Those damn midgets didn't show up and vote for Kamala. We bought those bastards a little pony and they said they would vote and they didn't do it. They're blaming everybody except themselves because they're corrupt. They're corrupt to the core. If something went wrong, well, it can't be my fault. Sure as hell can't be my fault. I did what I was supposed to do. I completely lost touch with the middle class. I became part of the rich elite, and I tried to, I would step on the ground if not for all the little people to walk upon. My feet would touch the ground because I'm a Democrat. I'm a rich liberal elite. Completely lost touch with the middle class. No idea what's going on. So let's blame everybody else except our failed policies. And since our policies are so bad, let's just throw money at everything. That's what Democrats do. When there's a problem, they just throw money at it. They don't solve it. I've said this 1,000 times. Great at creating problems, terrible at solving problems. The Democrat Party, the worst. $1 billion spent for one of the worst beatings I've seen in my entire life. It was a disaster. So maybe the Democrats need to think about that. Get a little, retrospective on what's going on. Their policies, well, they suck. They failed. It wasn't white women that caused Kamala to lose. It wasn't black men. It wasn't Latino voters. It was Kamala Harris that caused Kamala to lose. It was the DNC. That's what caused Kamala to lose. It was the unbelievably bad messaging that caused her to lose. It was completely losing touch. The middle class is screaming, I can't afford this anymore. Great, raise the prices. Because that was their mentality. Everybody was complaining. They weren't listening. It was falling on deaf ears. The Democrats lost because of the Democrats. It was not a voting group. And it kind of just goes to show you. Oh, I read that. Where did I read that? I read it somewhere, and it was actually pretty brilliant. Money can't buy you love or votes.